Call of Duty is one of the greatest franchises of all time. You've played it, I played it, we've all played it, but things just aren't the same anymore. In the release of Warzone and recent Call of Duties, it's unfortunately been on a steady decline. And on top of that, with Warzone losing 30% of its players since the initial release, which some people might argue is normal. However, it's now at 40% of a drop and it's progressively getting worse. It's funny because, you know, a lot of people, including myself, others, will say that the franchise is dying, but it continues to thrive in community and also in revenue. So what really is killing Call of Duty? Well, it's you. Kind of. SoaR started as a trick-shotting team back in 2011, just as a group of friends trying to make fun Call of Duty videos. As the years went on, it wasn't just a team anymore, which is normal to happen. It became a company. We had an audience of people just like you supporting us for the content that we created because you loved it and so did we. Keyword, loved. COD just wasn't as fun as it used to be. Whether it was for SoaR, for you guys, the viewers, or basically anyone that started from the beginning. But there was always a few games over the years that left us with just a little bit of hope. The unfortunate reality is that viewers, you guys have killed Call of Duty over the years because you would ask the developers for changes that would, yes, improve the game, but it would favor you particularly, while there's casuals, other people that just play Call of Duty on their own free time, and it wouldn't appeal to them. The developers were met with the hard decision of who do we go to? Or some of the developers, unfortunately, just didn't care. It isn't your fault. You wanted the best, but they didn't. One of the most unique aspects about Call of Duty is that it's fresh. The franchise itself releases a game every single year, but to some faults, the game ends up also feeling rushed. They forced out new content that isn't actually good.
Let me show you guys Call of Duty now. Like, we are playing this now. Call of Duty right there.
And the game is just dropped on your head like, here you go. People like us, people like you watching the video, you might go back to some old Call of Duties because to some extent, those games were created perfectly. Even though they were still on the same time frame, now there's new standards. Are we chasing nostalgia or something else? The fact of the matter is that a lot of these old Call of Duties, they've lived on, they still have player bases, but then you had some new ones that came out over the years that no one's ever talked about ever again after the 1 year run was done. What is wrong with Call of Duty now? Warzone has lost 40% of its player base since the game's release, and it's still getting worse. All the while, Black Ops 6 shattered franchise records. The player base was at an all-time high. There was so much hope for the game. There was a new movement system, new mechanics. Omni movement was set to change the game completely. There was genuinely hope for every aspect of the game, from red gunning to sniping to zombies. It all seemed like it could turn out perfect because it was part of the Black Ops franchise itself, and that's all on the back of Treyarch, who developed Black Ops 6. The game was in development for 4 whole years, which is the longest in Call of Duty history. Apparently, the game designers at Treyarch were playtesting it for over 2 years before they released it. So the game releases after season 1, there's bugs all over the place. Warzone is bad, unsaved loadouts, bad footsteps, you can't hear anything. There's so much more. None of it was being fixed. And you know what the worst of it all is? The cheating. Cheating has been a huge problem, not only in Call of Duty, every single game that has a multiplayer system. It always has been, it always will be. But Call of Duty, for whatever reason, is one of the worst when it comes to cheating and not being able to solve it. Players feel like the Ricochet anti-cheat doesn't do its job. Honest players are constantly banned.
I just got permabanned. There is no way this just happened.
And there's no regulated system for them to get unbanned. This is seriously the worst it's ever been. Every single creator on Twitter, on stream.
Dude, I just went down because you can't put on a gas mask while you're reloading?
Are all talking about it, all complaining. They don't even play the game anymore because of how bad the cheating is, because it's flooded. Ranked play, Warzone, anything you do. Especially if you have a high skill-based matchmaking, it's just impossible to get into a game without being, 1, in a game with a cheater, or 2, assuming that it's a cheater because the game integrity has plummeted so badly, you just sit there and think, that guy must have been cheating too. You could literally open up TikTok Live and just scroll through all the streams of people playing Call of Duty, and 1 out of 10 of them, there will probably be someone playing, showing hacks, and selling them right there, live on TikTok. And the streams themselves even stay up. There's nothing being done about that. There's Twitter and Discord groups publicly selling cheats all over. What's even worse is if you're assumed to be cheating, they'll report you, or they'll f with you and just spam report you if they don't like you. And all of a sudden, you're then in the shadow ban system. And with the shadow ban system, you're put into hidden lobbies, which are actually full of hackers, and they're just worse than the normal lobbies. They're completely unplayable. There's nothing you can do about it. And like I said earlier, there's no real system to help get your way out of this because you can't appeal it. At the end end of the day, there are all these issues within the game, and the developers just simply don't listen to the feedback. Thankfully, you do see some of the interactions back and forth with developers and creators, showing that they actually do care, showing that they're wanting to make something happen. Unlike, other game developers at other companies, they do not care at all. It's funny because over the years, people have claimed that PC gaming has ruined the integrity of all console gaming, like Call of Duty focused games, when in reality, PC gaming has been around for forever. That's the issue. But if it will help, maybe they should put a barrier up and separate the lobbies, let console players play on their own, let PC guys be on their own too. Maybe there should be those two lanes. Allegedly, Activision has been conducting tests where they temporarily disable the skill-based matchmaking, and the results have shown that there is a significant drop in the player engagement, which their decision to keep SBMM remains. At the end of the day, I get it. It sucks for some of the players that just want to have fun and play with their friends and the lobbies get ruined. It is what it is. Recently, Activision disclosed to the public how much they've made from these games and how much was put into making them. Black Ops 3 cost $450 million to make, and they sold 43 million copies. Modern Warfare 2019 cost $640 million to make, and then they sold 41 million copies. And then Black Ops Cold War cost $700 million to make, and they only sold 30 million copies. How does that make sense? Who knows what Black Ops 6 will sit at? Like we talked about earlier, the significant player drop is a huge red flag. I thought a lot of people were already not going to buy the game as is, just from my personal perspective. At this rate, does that mean the next Call of Duty is just going to be the worst it's ever been? But here we are. We're still playing. We're still enjoying it the way we can. And SoaR itself has always kept one foot in the door because Call of Duty is a part of our history. It's a part of our roots. We love it. So with that being said, I don't think SoaR will ever quit making content on Call of Duty. I don't think we'll ever stop bringing in creators that can help support us and also create content on the game with us. And it's just become a perfect affinity for SoaR and perfect extension of what we are, who we are. We're sticking around for now. We're always looking to do something new and something better, and we still want to try to find new ways we can implement better things with Call of Duty and that content. Things might change. There's better games out there. Marvel Rivals, other games that keep coming out. Fortnite itself has stayed so consistent beyond recognition. So that's that. That's where we stand. Curious where you guys stand. Can Call of Duty survive? Can it make the comeback?